Isn't it crazy how almost any time you deviate from the black narrative, you are either labeled as a sellout or you're told that you are trying to be white, right? You want to be white so bad. I probably got that messaging from other black folk more than any other message when they realized that I was voting Republican. Now, if they had figured out that I was not only voting Republican, but I was a registered Republican, they probably would have lost their whole entire mind, right? But they lost at least half of their mind, at least half, just by figuring out that I voted for DJT, right? Donald Django Trump, because he is indeed a free man. But it is incredible to me how whiteness is connected to normalcy, or whiteness is connected to prosperity. That is troubling, folks. That's actually insulting. Like, I'm articulating myself in a vernacular that may be understood by the general population, but is not exactly in the affiliation of a specific group of individuals. Man, look at that. Look at that Negro right there, acting white. You want to be white so bad. Why you want to be? Maybe I'm just communicating myself in the most effective way possible, right? I might not need all those 5-6 syllable words, but nevertheless, I am communicating in a clear way, but that's supposed to be reserved for white people? Wait. So you're telling me that if my daddy was in a household, if my pops raised me alongside my mother, and there was a dynamic of mother-father, and that interplay was my household, I grew up white? Look, my daddy is a dark-skinned brother. My mother is a light-skinned woman, right? They came together and they created me. Somebody tried to say, "Oh, I'm half Indian" or something like that. I said, I mean, I didn't know anything about that, but I guess I'm half Indian, right? But, they said I was red. I'm a red bone now. All of a sudden, I'm a red bone. But anyway, my daddy is a black man. My mom is a black woman, right? Because they were both in the house, that now makes us white. You want to be white so bad. It is the greatest insult to black folk, or I'm sure there's a multitude of individuals from different ethnocentric backgrounds that have the same experience. You might be Hispanic and it's like, oh, you're trying to be white because you speak well, you want to be educated, right? You want to work in an environment that's not degenerate. You actually want to get a job. You want to do for yourself. You want to take responsibility for your life. You don't want to live off of the system your entire life, right? Some of those type of things. You want to raise your children and actually be there in your children's lives. You want to marry the person that you're with as opposed to being a baby mama, baby daddy. That makes you white now. That is deeply, deeply insulting, because what you're saying is that black folk, or POCs, people of color, right? Because it's always changing. It's like first colored folk and then black, then African American. Now it's POCs because they got a bigger group that they want as a voting pool, right? As a person of color, if you are doing things that are outside of this sphere of normalcy within your own little collective, you are then seen as trying to be white or wanting to be accepted by white folk. Because I voted for a candidate who served my best interest and the best interest of the ones in my own household, I am viewed as wanting to be white or to be accepted by white people. Make that make sense for me. So I was black when I supported Obama because he is quote unquote black, right? So I'm black when I support him, black enough. But as soon as I deviate from that narrative, I am now trying to be accepted by white people. Okay, got you. So what you're telling me is that black folk cannot be sophisticated, they cannot be civilized, that they cannot be educated. That's what you're trying to say, right? I mean, because every time somebody tells you that you're acting white, you're trying to be white, you want to be accepted by white people, what are they saying? They're saying that you're deviating from what we are. So we're supposed to be what? We're supposed to be ratchet. We're supposed to be loud. We're supposed to be abrasive, unable to deal with things. It's like even, gentle parenting, I'm give and take with it, right? Truth be told, there's some parts of it that are powerful and effective, and then other parts which that kid just needs to be disciplined in a little bit of an old school way, right? You ain't got to put your hands on the child, but you got to be firm with the child. But if you deviate from putting hands or whatever it is, and you start to communicate with your children, and you want effective communication with your children, and you want them to be able to have a space where they know that they can actually express themselves instead of, God forbid, them repressing or suppressing a lot of their own emotions. You acting white. That's that white stuff right there. Really? That's what it is to be white. It is to be understanding, to be thoughtful. And the one that really gets on me is the narrative of prosperity. When you start to make money or you're financially responsible, fiscally responsible, they label you. Now, I know there's a whole lot of white folks, more than not, who are fiscally irresponsible because most people on this planet are fiscally irresponsible. They're irresponsible with their money. I'm not saying they're not trying their best, but most people don't educate themselves enough about how money works. And instead, they basically put that, they delegate money issues to their boss, to the government, to institutions, maybe an accountant, whatever. And so they end up at the end of life with more life left than money. It doesn't have to be the case. Mind you, it does not. We have to take personal accountability for where we end up in life. We don't choose where we start, but we choose for sure where we end. Okay? That being said, if you start to be fiscally responsible, right, to have good credit is on some white stuff, that's insane. Why can't it be normalized, right? To have your child open their bank account, understand how to use it, understand how money works. That's considered as, that's not black enough, right? No, you need to be irresponsible with your money. You need to blow your money. When you look at an athlete or rapper or something like that who is saving up their cheddar, they're not putting on a big old chain. They ain't got on all this excessive stuff trying to project themselves as a somebody to the world, right? They're conservative in their spending. They're fiscally responsible. They're putting their money into places that makes them money. They're creating more assets as opposed to liabilities within their lives. Now that strips away their black heart. That is so deeply offensive. So to be wealthier, to be middle class, is to be white. That belief in and of itself will keep you poor for the rest of your life. Even if you get some money, you'll go back to zero. You'll go back to broke or even worse. You'll end up in debt because you hold a belief that you do not deserve to be wealthy. That's them. You don't deserve to be in a solid, stable relationship, a healthy relationship. Because that's that white stuff, right? Communicating effectively in a relationship. That's that white stuff. Like, I hope there are people who get this message who are stuck on stupid. Like, they're stuck on this message of there has to be the separation, right? When we talk about culture, I say, okay, I understand that there's things that were evolved by different groups of people, right? It's like if you go into Africa, different tribes of individuals created different customs, adopted different customs, and evolved them, and then they're shared in most cases. We share cultures, and hopefully we share the best of our cultures. Hopefully we adapt those things that are the most conducive, not the parts that are the most destructive. Unfortunately, that's what we have tended to do. We have taken the most dysfunctional qualities from those that we may interact with and engage with. And then we reject those aspects that are actually the most conducive to our success. That's a very, very dangerous place to exist. When you are taking on the negative habits as opposed to the positive ones and reinforcing those positive ones. The reinforcement comes through the messaging that we give. That's that white stuff right there. Oh, that's that Carlton right there. Man, you Urkel. Yeah, I'm Urkel. I want to be a super genius. Yeah, I'm Carlton. I want to have scholarships to every single one of the best schools off of merit. I want to be, class president, whatever it is. Yeah, give me that all day long. But instead, I'm supposed to be the hooper because that's black enough. I'm supposed to be the one with a little hop step in his, you know what I mean? Now, don't get me wrong, rhythm and swag, that's all good. But I'm supposed to put on this image. I'm supposed to wear my jacket inside out because that's culturally acceptable. That makes me black enough. That's incredible It is incredible to me. And, I've made a few videos like, you act white and things of that nature, and they've hit off. And the reason I realize they're resonating and people need this message is because there's so many of us who are also sick and tired on one side of seeing it, but also there are many who feel still this tug and this pull, like you feel enmeshed and you feel trapped, and it feels like a breath of fresh air, as some of y'all say, just to hear somebody say this out loud, right? I used to be deeply afraid to say these things, even when I believed them to my core, when I broke away from trying to fit into the stereotype, but I was so afraid to be rejected until I realized, wait, if you reject me for being a false version of self, then you never actually accepted me to begin with. If you're rejecting a caricature of me, then you actually never knew me. You actually never cared about me. You never asked me if I was, the kid who grew up on Dragon Ball Z. You just saw me as, well, look at the skin color. He must be into this, this, and that. A lot of us grew up loving anime. A lot of us grew up loving rock songs. We love Linkin Park, Blink 182. Like, we loved a lot of these things, Green Day. We loved a lot of these things, but it's like we couldn't love them out loud. We couldn't love them in public. And for y'all who did, y'all are my real heroes. You never went for it. You continue to stay consistent to who you are. And for those who broke out of that thing, that's a beautiful thing. But there's still some folks who are trapped in that mentality right now. They're on the Democratic plantation. They're standing on that plantation looking around. I'm like, damn, like there's a lot of nonsense, a lot of foolishness, but I can't speak on it because I'll lose my mama, my auntie, my daddy, my sister, my cousin, my brother, my whatever it is. And I tell you straight up, my brother, he separated himself from me when he realized, oh, he has a mind of his own. Oh, I can't subscribe. I would never, on the basis of politics, unless you genuinely voted for the little mustache man, the actual little mustache man, then I would question you. I would question you then. But I'm not going to break my relationship up with you. I'm not about to cut you off. I'm not about to cut you off, my blood brother, my auntie. I'm not about to cut you. You believe what you believe. You voted for Kamala. Beautiful. It was a foolish decision, but it's a decision that you get to make nonetheless. It's a free nation. That's the beauty of this country. To vote on your own best interest, that means every day you vote for something with your energy, your time, your attention, and of course your money. Whatever you give your energy and attention to is what essentially molds, creates your reality. So if you're given over to those things that are destructive, that are toxic, that are dysfunctional, on the basis of culture, whatever else you want it to be, you're going to have a chaotic, toxic, dysfunctional life. That's how that works. Input, output. This is a universe based upon cause and effect. All effects have a cause. You are first cause of the life situations and circumstances that you then engage in. When you take this action, it leads to this outcome. When you don't take this action, it leads to another one. So instead of classifying things in just this, that's the white people thing. If it's a positive, say that's a me thing. Start to adopt those as your own. Start to integrate those subconscious beliefs that then become your everyday conscious beliefs. I did so much of the quote unquote inner work for so long that it's now just a part of my internal dialogue. I did so much of the repairs on my money mentality, my beliefs of what was possible, what is not possible for me, etc., that at this point, it's just firing, wiring. It just clicked into gear. And so I am tapped in to a belief that I can do everything and anything. There's nothing that's reserved for those people. I don't look at Elon and say, oh, that's a white guy, so only white guys can reach that level of success. No. I say that's incredible. I can be the Elon Musk of what I do, right? I can give myself so completely to what I love, what I'm here to do, that, I give myself to my gift and my gift makes room for me. That's how I perceive life. Nothing is reserved for anybody else. I get to have a family unit. I get to raise kids in a household with a mother and a father. I get to do that because that's what I choose. It's not designated to one group of people who get to have that experience, who get to have, the white picket fence sort of lifestyle, to live in the suburbs and beautiful homes and to have a safe life, to live in safety and security as opposed to fearing for your life and looking behind your shoulder. Absolutely not. So anytime somebody tells me, you want to be white. What that really translates to me is, oh, you're trying to do better for yourself. And that should never be held within a specific group of people. That's heartbreaking to me. If you believe that, I'm sorry. I really feel bad for you. If you believe that you are unable to have the good of life because it's reserved for a specific group of people. It's not. You can have it too, but you got to break free from those limiting beliefs, and you got to stop being a damn victim in your own story and start to take your life back.
I used to be afraid of the dark, place unknown like a hardening heart. I used to see my life in the bar. Now the kids unchained, every shackle is lost. 2 steps in the moonlight, 2 step in the daytime. You just know when it feel right. You got a feeling the time's not. See you through those shades that I just threw on. Through my lenses, you just can't do no wrong. I fell in love with myself again. I fell in love with myself. I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the life in him illuminate the night. I know the time is taking. A 365, that's a full rotation. I see you looking up, you know them constellations. Constantly gazing like house of praises, you get to praising. They see your light shine, that's why they so frustrated. Even the sofa in Nova Scotia will win the bagels. I couldn't get them ease on the grease, why they burning up? Money growing trees, feel a breeze, still you show.